So hello everybody, a very late Christmas and happy holidays. So I was watching some movie with ads or some YouTube video or something like that a while ago, I don't quite remember. And I get this ad. It's a trailer for that new holiday movie coming out, Red One, with J.J. Simmons, Chris Evans, and The Rock. It looks bad, really not great. And I wonder how they were able to get all these big names for such a honestly kind of crappy looking movie. So a while later, I decided to look up the budget for some reason, because I don't know, I guess I wanted to know, and oh my balls, $250 million were spent on this? And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's noticed this. In fact, if you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you might be aware, but it feels like a lot of movies have been flopping recently. Fast X, Joker 2, The Fall Guy, even though that one was actually kind of great. Indiana Jones 5, and Mission Impossible, I think we're on 9 now, maybe? And it kind of makes you think, what happened to movies nowadays? Well, to start off, notice that how out of all the movies I just listed, none of them were original. Yeah, even The Fall Guy was actually based off of an old TV show, apparently. I did not know that. And I know y'all have heard the, there are too many sequels debate like a million times, so I'm not gonna bore you with that whole speech. But honestly, is it really that true? I mean, for just a second, think of all the original franchises that these films are sequels to. I mean, Fast and Furious 1 came out in 2001 to jump on the sort of gritty, car-ish sort of action movie trend that was going on around that time. Mission Impossible 1 came out in 1996 and was an adaptation of an already popular TV show. Indiana Jones, while an original idea, was partly made to be an homage to classic 1930s and 40s action heroes. It's not as much about being sequels, it's more about just one thing: budget. These films all had insanely high budgets, and that's a big part of the reason that they all flopped. If a movie has a $250 million budget, unless it's like Avatar or Endgame or something, yeah, it's probably not gonna make that back. So while these big companies make these movies, when they invest all this money in them, they try to, play it safe by always making them sequels or remakes or spin-offs of some kind to an IP that people are already familiar with. Usually they'll try to have some sort of nostalgia bait in there and bring back actors, you all know the drill. And I'll be honest, for a while it sort of worked. I mean, if you look at a lot of movies during the 2010s, people really did buy into it, and everybody went to see them. But eventually, as they do, people have started to get tired of it, because unfortunately the average viewer isn't quite as stupid as companies want them to be. So eventually people have gotten tired of it, and they've been pretty tired for a very, very long time. So now all these big companies are still putting out these movies because they're sort of stuck in a habit of it, even though they're flopping like crazy. And honestly, it really doesn't make much sense. Again, I'm sure you've all seen those videos about people talking about the downfall of Disney and all that kind of stuff, which honestly I think is probably not that true. Sure, they've been in a slump for a while, but it's Disney. My guess is that they'll come back at some point. But it really does make you think why they're making all these awful decisions that don't really make them any money either. It's not like this is good for their brand, it's not like people are enjoying these, and it's not like they're making much money from them. Okay, well, sometimes they are making money from them, but it's becoming a big risk at this point. Hey, sorry to stop the video real quick. This is Future Mateo here. So I actually have a short film out on YouTube right now that I made with a bunch of really good buddies of mine. It's called Dead on Arrival. It's sort of a short comedy/horror sort of zombie movie. So if you're into that sort of stuff, please do check it out. I highly recommend, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, back to the video. But I actually think that there's a pretty simple solution to all of this. And I know I'm probably not the first one to say it, but bring back mid-budget films, please. I know that a lot of studios want to sort of play it safe with these big budget films, but they've almost been kind of doing the opposite in recent years. It would actually be more of a win-win to make more mid-budget films, because since the budget isn't huge, it's not usually as much of a risk for major corporations, and since they don't have to take as much of a gamble with these films, they can greenlight more creative and original ideas, which I know people just, love, or which I know would make a lot of people happy right now. I mean, hell, most of the films that started these giant franchises were mid-budget films to begin with, and look how big they all got. Mid-budget films are still being made by usually smaller studios like A24, just not as much, and not as many mainstream corporations are putting as many dollars into them. So I just think we need to make more overall. But, you know, that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you have a completely different opinion? Do you think I'm a complete mumbling idiot who has no idea what I'm talking about? And in conclusion, The Rock really needs to get his ego checked, like, Jesus Christ.